Hello, consumers, I guess. This is a video tutorial on how to play Aerobiz on the iPad. I gave you a link to a website, this website, SNES Live. So the thing with this is during class, I will manually unblock this website so you can use that link. If you try to get on it at home on your iPad, you won't be able to. It won't work. So my advice is at home, there is a way to, if we click here, there's a way to do a save state, which then allows you, as you can see at the bottom of my screen here, you can download whatever the state of your current game is, and then there should be an option to import that. I believe choose file here would let you import that save state into, for example, your phone. So you could download that to your iPad, email it to yourself. Perhaps if you have a desktop, you could do it there instead. But the point is, I gave you this link. This is the game we're going to be playing as part of our microeconomics unit in terms of market forces. This game, despite being pretty old, I believe it's from the 80s, it is honestly a really good game in terms of simulating market forces, supply and demand, and all that type of stuff we've been talking about in class. So as we start up a new game, sorry about that. Oh, come on. As we start up a new game, it doesn't matter to me if you pick scenario 1 or 2. I'm going to do 2 for a particular reason. The only option here is man or computer. So whichever player, if you want to be player 2, make player 2 man. I don't care. Make player 1 man. Okay, and once you're good with that, once you're playing, just hit exit. Okay, and that'll select it. At this screen, it'll prompt you to choose what city to start in. This is moderately important. The goal of the game is, I believe, to connect all of the cities, and so eventually, no matter where you start, you're going to have to connect all the others in terms of flight routes. I would say starting in a city near a lot of other really high wealth cities is good, like your Los Angeles, your Mexico City, Tokyo, maybe over here in Rome. But really, it doesn't matter. I think the AI has a tendency, whichever one I choose, it's going to choose at least one that's pretty close to it. I'm going to choose Japan for this example. It looks like the closest ended up being in India, which isn't too bad. Obviously, the closer your competitors are, the more quickly they'll compete with you for routes. So that's kind of why that matters. Now, for your airline name, it does have to be some kind of derivative of either your first or last name. Stay in full screen. What is this? So, for example, let's use my first name. We'll do Eric Air. I guess I could have done Eric. You can laugh at that. All right. Point is, I just want to be able to verify that each individual is playing this and that it's not like one person playing for the entire class. The main part of this assignment is really the reflection at the end, and that would stand out a lot more if everybody typed in the same one. But I also want you to play it. It's a fun game. How often do teachers have you play video games as part of an assignment, even an old one like this? So make it some variation of your name, like Eric Air. I could have also done like Landing for Landon with an G on the end. Anyway, I hit done. I hit OK. You have to play on pro. If you play on hard, normal, easy, or beginner, you'll start with more money, which is kind of, to my knowledge, that's literally the only difference between these difficulty levels. However, if you start in any of these smaller ones, it will be a point deduction. So just start on pro. Yes, that's okay. So game start. If you're not the first, never mind. I was about to say if you're not the first player, if you're not player 1, it won't start you first, but it turns out it does. So this guy talks at you, says, link 22 cities, get 4.5 million passengers, and increase profits. That's the goal of the game, right? That's how to win. Down here at the bottom, there's a fast forward button as well, so you can do that. And then we're into the game. So the very first thing I want you to do is hit, is it Y? Yeah, it's Y. Hit Y, go to Ink, take a screenshot of this before you do anything else, okay? This is going to be something you turn in. Specifically, I'm going to look for the name of your airline, number one. I'm going to look to see it's the beginning of the game, so that's Net City 1, routes 0, passengers 0, salary and profit 0, and then funds, which will tell to me what difficulty you're playing on. Okay, so I'm going to need to see this screen. You need to screenshot this and submit that as part of your project. That's going to be part of the grade. Besides that, this screen, after I pressed Y, will tell me some stuff such as where my expenses are going. I don't know why it says MKTG. It should be like finances, but whatever. It'll tell me how many planes of different types I have. So I can see I have some Boeing 767s, which are pretty good planes, some Boeing 747s, which I don't like very much, and some DC-10s, okay? Assets, I believe there's a way to invest in other airlines. There's a small stock market component to this game, and I imagine that asset there would show me where my stocks are. And then RTE shows me the routes. Currently I have none open, so it's a blank screen. Basically, pressing Y opens up different viewing options in terms of what's going on with the world. This down here at the bottom, these are my actions. This here will end the turn. I don't want to do that yet. This opens a board meeting, which I can ask about, why don't you tell me about my budget? Our maintenance has been very successful. We just started. Our growth is well balanced. We just started. How about raising our marketing plan budget a little? We just started. Anyway, once you're done, you can just exit out of that. I don't know how helpful those advisors are. I don't know how good they are, but they're kind of fun, I guess. In this, you can open so branches. Once I have a route into a city, I need to open a branch before I can have flights originate from that city. Okay, so right now, I can only launch flights from Japan, my starting city. If I want to, for example, launch a flight from New York, first I need to connect Tokyo, Japan, to New York. Then I need to open a branch location. Hotels slightly increase revenue and I think demand. So like the number of passengers that want to go to a destination. I need to have a route there. I can build a hotel. Based on the quality of that hotel, it'll be more or less effective. And then this charter company is how I invest. So the price there will tell me the price of one unit of stock, right? One share of the company. The AI loves to all choose like a single company and then pour like all their money into it on the first quarter. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. And if you own, I think just a majority, I think you just need 51% of the stock of one of these charter planes, you can purchase the company, which obviously can be a pretty powerful business move. But essentially, this is just the stock market, right? I put in money here, buy shares at 37 is what it says there, in the hopes that that value will go up later and I can sell it for a profit. It's cool if you want to invest in that. I'm just showing you the options here, though. I'm not necessarily providing strategy at this point. So that's what's in here: branches, hotels, and stocks. This is for our marketing, okay? Marketing, you really don't need to get into here at the beginning. When you have enough cities connected, you can advertise your route. Or sorry, when you have enough cities connected, you advertise your network. A route is if you have one route that's really successful and you want to make more money on it, you can advertise that, especially if it's one nobody else has or if it's one you're competing on. Hotels, obviously you need a hotel. All of these, if they're successful, will temporarily improve the performance of that route or the performance of that hotel. Or for network, I think it just provides a small bonus to everything, to all your routes, your entire flight network. So later in the game, marketing is pretty powerful. At this point, it doesn't really matter. This is where you set different budgets. If I was you, the AI does this. If I was you, first thing I'd do is go through I'm going to raise every budget to max because that's just more or less the price of doing business, okay? I want max repair so my planes don't break down. I want max advertising so I don't need to spend as much on advertising campaigns later. And I want maximum service to increase demand for my flights, right? If my service budget is higher, people will be more likely to fly on my flights versus my competitors' flights. It costs me more money, obviously, these expenses do, but pretty much right from the start, it's worth it to max those out. So that's my first strategy tip. And once they're maxed out, I never have to look at the screen again, okay? This is how I order planes. I'll get to that in a minute. This is how I negotiate for flight slots to open new routes. I'll get to that in a minute. This is the main part of the game, okay, is opening routes. Opening, changing routes, okay? So for example, you see that number 30 under Tokyo. That says that I have 30 slots in Tokyo right now. That means that I have reserved the right for 30 planes to leave Tokyo per week. So I can open a route, for example, from Tokyo down here to Australia, which I have 12 routes in. It tells me the distance there, 4,800 miles, okay? And then it'll bring me to this menu where I select details about the route, like what plane I want, for example. I think the best plane I have right now is probably either the 767 or this DC-10. You can see the stats of the plane tell me the fuel efficiency. So the better that fuel grade is, the less it will cost for these planes to run. Under that is the number of seats, which obviously is how many passengers can fit on each plane. And under that is the range, okay? Both have more than sufficient range to reach from Tokyo to Sydney. I think right now I like the 767. I have a lot of slots, meaning I can have many flights per week, up to 12, okay? Why don't we just max that out right away? Okay, so I'm gonna put all my planes on there. And because there's so many, each plane doesn't necessarily need to carry that many passengers, right? So 12 flights per week, all 4 of my 767s from Tokyo to Sydney, and the last thing I can do is set the fare. If I hold down X, I can increment it by 5%. Right now, because nobody else is on this flight, I'm gonna get a little greedy and set it up 15%. Okay, this is 15% above market rate, which increases my profit, but it also means fewer people are gonna want to fly there. So if I had competition for this route, I'd probably wanna lower the price, right? Hopefully that makes sense to you. I'll show this little animation of the flight opening, and it's so exciting, yay. And then I wait. Until next turn, I won't know how that route's doing if anybody's interested in flying on it. As you can see, I still have 18 slots left in Tokyo. Now I have no more slots anywhere else. I can't open any more routes. The way I can fix this is with this button here, this middle one with the talking hands. This opens 3 negotiators whom I can enter negotiations with. Like for example, if I wanted to fly from Tokyo to Beijing, China, for example, well, I'd need to send this lovely young lady to Beijing and say, I want 10 flights per week to Beijing. Now those slots, just having the option to open those flights will cost me money every month. So it's only worth it to get slots that I'm gonna use. But there's also a limited number of slots. So if my competitors want to fly to Beijing, that will limit my ability to fly to Beijing. And hopefully that makes sense to us, right? There's limited resources. Let's say I also want to fly, my competitor is in Delhi, and I don't want to open up in Delhi until I know that I'm secure in my own domain. So maybe I want to open up a flight to Hong Kong or Singapore. Let's do Singapore, because that's a little bit further away from Beijing, and so I feel like it's a little bit more diverse. So I'd have 8 slots left after spending 10 in Beijing. So let's plan to use all 8 to go to Singapore. Okay. So what I did is I just sent these negotiators to purchase 10 flights per week in Beijing and 8 flights per week in Singapore. I've got one more negotiator left, and I might as well send him to get more flights, more slots in my home city of Tokyo. You even need to reserve slots in your own city, okay? And since I can only fly from Tokyo right now, I might as well get all the slots there, even if it's going to cost me some money if I'm not using them. If I ever wanted to return slots, I'd have this handsome-looking fellow. He looks like a certain historical figure to me. If you know, you know, okay? But he lets me return slots. I don't want to return any slots, but if I did, he's how I'd do it. Okay, so I'm happy with those negotiations. They'll be done in a couple turns. Last thing I want to do on this first turn, I've used up the slots that I have. I've looked to get new slots. Last thing I want to do, I start off with quite a lot of money. And one of the most important resources in this game is my planes, okay? Specifically, so I can buy from Boeing, MDC, or Airbus. Markov, these are Soviet planes. I can't buy from them unless I start in the Soviet Union. Keep in mind, this is taking place during the Cold War. I'm not allowed to buy Eastern Bloc planes as long as the Soviet Union exists. So I can only buy from these three companies. Globus, as you can see with the orange cell, this is where I sell planes I'm not using. So for example, I really hate these 747s. They have a really long range and a lot of seats, but their fuel efficiency sucks so bad and they're so expensive, I just want to sell all four of them, okay? And she's going to give me $2.5 billion for them, I think. No, $200 million for them. I'll take that. I'd rather have the money because I can buy a more worthwhile plane. For example, I know I really like these 767s. Okay, I just used all four of the ones that I had. I really like them. Very long range, very good efficiency, decent passengers. I'm going to buy, how many is that? 9? I'm going to buy 9 of them. Okay. It's generally a good idea to have one short or medium range plane that has really good fuel efficiency. Okay, but I don't really care so much about the range or the number of seats. And it's really good to have one plane that's really long range, preferably with a lot of seats. So for example, these DC-10s that I have a few of have more seats than the Boeing 767s. So I could use these as my more long range flights. Last thing I want to check, before I commit to that though, I want to check Airbus. I remember the A310 being really good. The A310, range of 6,000, not the longest, but not bad. 280 seats, which is really good. Fuel rank of B, which is really good. These, I think, are probably the best short-range planes, whereas I think the 767s are arguably the best long-range planes. So I'm going to buy 9 of each. You can buy as many as you want, okay? 9 is just, sounds good to me. Also, for you plane enthusiasts, the Concorde here sucks, okay? This was an actual plane famous for being very fuel inefficient, as you can see. Famous for being a very bad commercial airline, only 100 seats, very small, very short range. They're very fast. I believe this was at the time the fastest commercial airliner. You can see this ugly swoop nose it has. I mean, maybe you like it. I shouldn't say it's ugly. But it has a swoop nose at the front. You can look up the Concorde. It's kind of a meme of a plane. Personally, I wouldn't use the Concorde. If you want to, you sure can, but I wouldn't. Okay. So for planes, again, most important thing, fuel, right? Maximizing my expenses to keep these planes in the air versus the seats on those planes. And then the range, okay? So once again, I'd have at least one dedicated long-range plane. For me, that's a 767. Good fuel efficiency, decent seat count, great range. And then one shorter range plane, a more charter plane, if you will. And this one just needs to have great fuel, which the A310 does. It also has good seats and good range, but that's kind of neither here nor there. I'm not going to use it for long-range flights. I'm only going to use these for short-range flights. So those planes all look good. That's pretty much all I can do. I've ordered some planes. I've sent all my guys out ordering new slots to open new routes, and I've opened the one route that I can. So I'm going to hit this button to end my turn. Australia, my competitors, they'll all go through their turn. Okay? Australia might be an issue if they decide to open a route to Tokyo, because that will immediately put them in competition with me. We'll both have the same route, and we'll steal each other's passengers. Okay? And when that happens, I'll have to start really thinking about how much I'm charging for that flight. Until then, you can see I'm already doing really well. So after every turn, once everybody's done their stuff, it'll show a screen like this. This number first, the 74,256, shows me how many passengers flew on my airline over the past quarter, the past 3 months. 74,000 is not bad for the first turn, okay? If I scroll up one, it'll show me how much profit I made. I did not expect to make profit yet. It's very unusual to make profit this early in the game, okay? As it turns out, that one route that we have must be doing really well, which is surprising. I did not expect it to do this well. You don't normally get profit the first turn. Usually like Mexico Air here, who has a flight open but isn't making any money, okay? If I scroll up one more, it'll show me my expenses, how much I spent over the last quarter, and then up one more, this green bar is how much I made in revenue, okay? And remember, profit, this pink bar, is revenue minus my expenses. So it's important to pay attention to all three. If I notice that my revenue is actually quite healthy and my passengers are quite healthy, but I'm spending a lot of money, maybe my planes aren't fuel efficient enough. Maybe I'm spending too much on marketing or something like that. Who knows? Conversely, if my expenses are really low, but my profit also kind of sucks, my salary, my revenue, my green bar also kind of sucks, I might start needing to look at ways to expand, to increase my expenses, okay? But this looks good. I did not expect to make a profit. It's great that I did. Once I am satisfied that I'm crushing my opponents, as I am now, I'm going to hit B. That'll start the next turn. And there we go. Eric Air. Back to Tokyo. And it'll show me an overview of how I'm doing compared to my competition. As you can see, I'm first in everything, and so he's real happy. You rank higher than any of our competitors. Cool. Keep it up. Oop. Okay, yes, thank you. All right. Sometimes notifications like this will also come up. Sometimes wars will break out. Sometimes it'll say that a country is going to host the Olympic Games. Wars breaking out generally increase operating costs by making fuel more expensive. Cities that host the Olympic Games will experience a boost in tourism. So if I really wanted to capitalize on Rome hosting the Olympics, I should open a flight to Rome, okay? And then this is going to show me these planes being delivered, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, none of my little negotiators opened any routes yet. So I can't open any new routes. I can't actually start using those planes. What I can do, though, I can press X, or Y was it? I can press Y, and look at this route from Tokyo to Sydney. And we can see that red bar there, it's very cheap. I'm spending almost nothing on it. It's because the 767s are so fuel efficient, okay? It's costing me almost nothing to make that flight. But that green bar, I'm making a lot of money by doing it. And those flights, you can see all those little white little figures, that shows the flights are full. This is telling me that if I really wanted to, if I had the routes, like the slots to do it, to start more flights, I could actually offer more flights from Tokyo to Sydney and make more money that way. As it happens, right now, nobody else is flying that route, so I have no competition. There's a great demand for it. My planes are 100% full to capacity, which says to me, I'm actually perfectly free to change that route by increasing the price. Okay, so I want to change this route, go down to fares. I'm going to get another 20%, I think. Okay, we're going to increase the price to $2,164. And I think that charging $100 more will increase my profits, and I don't think it'll reduce my demand by that much. I still think people want to do that flight. Right now, that's pretty much all I can do. Okay, I can't open new routes. If I really wanted to, I could order more planes, but I don't need to right now. If I really wanted to, I could invest some money on buying stocks in a charter company. I don't really need to. One thing I did notice, though, at the bottom, I have these 3 bars they're green, pink, and red, and that's my salary, my profit, my expenses, right? The same that shows up on that quarterly report. Next to that, to the left of that, there's a circle that says 25, a star that says 100, and like a fork, maybe, that says 25. I don't know which is which, but that's showing me my advertising, my marketing, and my service, which I thought was supposed to be really good, but for some reason it sucks right now. I don't understand why. I don't know why that is. Clearly, I'm still not paying very much in upkeep for my planes, and I haven't heard anything about them breaking down. And clearly, there still is good demand for my flights. So I don't know what's going on with these numbers. I don't think there's a way to micromanage this more than I am. I think that all I can do is leave them at max budget and hope that it balances itself out. I really don't know how it works besides that. Okay. And anyway, right now this game is going pretty well. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly. Hopefully this gives you some idea of how to get started with the game, some idea of what's your first moves to make, what's the goal of the game, and maybe some tips, some pro tips from Mr. Landon on how to get started there. Okay. And you can see I'm still making a little bit of profit. My passengers are about the same, which means somewhere along the line my expenses must have increased, probably from those extra planes I have and those extra slots I just got, okay? So my expenses went up. In theory, my revenue did too, because I have the same number of passengers, but I'm charging $100 more per passenger. So I'm making more revenue, but I'm also spending more on maintenance for those planes and for those routes. Okay, so regardless, this is looking pretty good right now, okay? Your task for this project is to play through a full game, whether you win or lose, okay? Let's say I wanted to leave this here for now, right? My mom says I need to go get dinner. What I'd do, I'd come down here, hit this save, this floppy disk icon, save to files is what I would do. And then later, either on this iPad or on my phone or on a desktop, I could import that file. Okay, I could import that file and that would load the state. Okay, that would load exactly the same game state that I have here and allow me to keep playing. So anyway, those are the instructions for the game. My expectation is, again, that you play on Pro, that you name the company something to do with your name, that you show me a screenshot at the very start of the game before you do anything, and that you play through a full game, win or lose. Okay? I don't care if you win or lose. All I care is what decisions did you make to try to do the best for your airline. What decisions did you make about income, about supply, demand, expansion, assets, right? All these market forces. Did you capitalize on the Olympics? Did you change your strategy when war broke out and expenses went up? That's the kind of stuff that I care about, okay? So have fun with it, play through it, and don't, this is for a grade, so I understand that it feels like it's mandatory, and it kind of is, but have fun with it. This is a video game. If you find yourself losing interest in it and you're not having fun with it in the moment, save it, come back to it later. That's my advice, okay? So anyway, I hope this helps. I hope that you all understand now how to get started with this. And I wish you all luck. I hope you all have fun managing this business, and I look forward to reading your reflections. So best of luck to you, and I don't know, sky's the limit, or something like that, because it's an airline. See you in class.